Have you ever been in an interview for Scrum Master role and felt like you have been tested for every detail of Scrum, almost as if they're trying to catch you off guard? It's nerve-wracking, right? You know the concepts, but sometimes in the pressure of answering perfectly, you second-guess yourself. Don't worry, I've got you covered. Today, we are going to deep dive into top 15 Scrum Master questions to test your knowledge. I will show how to nail them with confidence. But before that, hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out the second part of the Scrum Master interview questions that is scenario based. So now, let's turn those nerves into success. Let's start with the first question. What is Agile? Explain. Okay, when someone asks such questions, you have to be little careful because this is a very tricky one. Agile is not a framework or a methodology. The definition of Agile is not commonly agreed upon. So, you need to answer something like this. Agile is basically a philosophy or mindset which makes us to deal with uncertain environment to reach success. And you have to apply the same definition for the project management achievement. Moving on to the second question. Do you know about Agile Manifesto? Explain in brief. This is a proper technical question where you have to answer exactly what is mentioned in the Agile Manifesto. The definition goes like this. Agile Manifesto is a set of principles and values for Agile software development. That's the definition. But then there are 4 points mentioned in the Agile Manifesto. They are individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a project plan. Briefing upon each of these points would enhance the perfectness in your answer. Well, the third question might be, what is Scrum and how does that differ from the Waterfall? For such definite questions, you have to mention the actual definition mentioned in the Scrum guide. Need not be the exact one, but you have to be little careful while using the exact technical words. Then, you have to mention the major differences between the Waterfall and the Scrum. Maybe mention the demerits of Waterfall and how Scrum overcomes it. Like for example, we fail fast in Scrum, we'll get to know the feedback early in Scrum, and then there will be a return on investment will be more. So such things has to be mentioned while mentioning the difference between Waterfall and Scrum. Moving on to the next question. What are the responsibilities of a Scrum Master? To answer such question, you have to mention who the Scrum Master is. A Scrum Master is a person who serves product owner, the development team, and also the organization in different ways. His responsibility towards each of these roles differs. For example, he serves the team by removing the impediments or any blockers they are facing in the process of achieving the value. And then towards the product owner, he coaches the product owner in scenarios. Also, he wears the hat of a teacher, guide, etc. There are multiple other responsibilities like facilitating the Scrum events. He is the one who streamlines the process in the overall scenarios, etc. etc. There are a lot of other responsibilities. These are some of the examples you can mention. Moving on to the next question. What are the 3 main pillars of the Scrum? This question has a specific answer. 3 pillars of the Scrum are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. You have to explain all these 3 pillars with example and brief about them. How you achieve transparency, how inspection is being done, and how the adaptation is being done on the inspected data. Moving on to the next question. What is a user story and how a good user story look like? To answer this, you need to define what a user story is. User story is the smallest unit of work in Scrum framework, and it has some characteristics also. So the good user story should adhere to something called invest model. What is invest model? Explain the invest model in order to answer the question I mentioned. I stands for independent. The user story should be written in such a way that the team members are less dependent on one another. N for negotiable. It should define the functionality of the user story and is subject to the product owner and the team's approval. V stands for valuable. It should offer value to the customer's experience. E stands for estimatable. This lets us be able to roughly approximate in terms of time. S stands for small, the user story should be tiny enough for the team to finish in a sprint. T, testable, good acceptance criteria after testing is required. Explain all these points with some good examples in order to explain what a good user story looks like. Moving on to the next question. What is Burnup and Burndown charts? To explain Burndown and Burnup charts, tell what is the use of these two charts. These two charts are used to track the progress of the project. It is that simple. So, what is Burndown chart? Burndown chart depicts how much amount of work is remaining, and Burnup chart shows how much amount of work is completed. Moving on to the next question. What is a sprint and what is its ideal duration? This is one of the most commonly asked questions. So, what is sprint? Sprint is a repetitive work cycle in the Scrum framework and is time boxed. The ideal duration would vary from 1 to 4 weeks based on the project. Moving on to the next question. What are the 3 artifacts of Scrum? This is a very straightforward question. It's product backlog, sprint backlog, and the product increment. Give one-liners for each of these points to make your answer perfect. Another most commonly asked question is, what are the values of Scrum? There are 5 values of Scrum: openness, respect, focus, courage, and commitment. Just explain how these values are imbibed for the betterment of the process. There might be some different kind of questions, like have you used any other methodology in Agile other than Scrum? And if you have not used such, don't panic. Just name few of them. You need not explain, like test-driven development, extreme programming, lean software development, Kanban, etc. Another common question is, who are the participants for sprint retrospective? Just mention what is a sprint retrospective first. It's a meeting to reflect upon how we did in the sprint. The participants should be Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team, which includes the testers, designers, architects, etc. Moving on to the next question. What are the tools used in Scrum project? Most commonly used tool is Jira, as we all know. And if you have not used any other tools other than Jira, just at least mention their names like Trello, Azure DevOps, Pivotal Tracker, ClickUp, etc. Moving on to the next question. What is DOD? DOD stands for Definition of Done. It is the set of checklist which has to be completed in order to declare a task as done. The checklists include writing the code, testing it, review, release notes, etc. Moving on. Next question is, what is Scrumban? Scrumban is a fusion of 2 agile methodologies, which is Scrum and Kanban. Taking the best features of each of these methodologies, Scrumban is framed. These are some of the most commonly asked interview questions in the Scrum Master interview in recent times. To practice more, do visit the links mentioned in the description box. And that's a wrap. Now we know how to tackle some of the most common and challenging interview questions for the Scrum Master role. Remember, Scrum is all about continuous learning and adaptation. The more you learn, the more you grow as a Scrum Master. So I would recommend to refine your knowledge and be prepared for the interview questions. If you want to take your preparation a step further, then we have something special for you. Our Scrum Master Interview Preparation Bootcamp. It's a bootcamp specially designed for you to practice real-world and scenario-based questions and are designed by experts. To enroll today, click the link in the description box below and brace yourself up to crack the interview in the first try. And if you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe for more insights like this. And stay tuned for part 2.